Every single night, you lie in bed staring blankly at your ceiling. The room is completely dark, but your face is illuminated by the artificial glow of your smartphone screen. You scroll endlessly through TikTok, Instagram, or X. You watch people living their perfect, highly curated lives. You watch them waking up at 5 a.m., drinking green juice, and building their empires. And as you watch them, you feel a crushing, suffocating wave of guilt. Tomorrow, you whisper to yourself in the dark. Tomorrow, I will be productive. I will wake up early. I will get my life together. But when morning finally comes, you cannot move. You are physically glued to the mattress. Your alarm goes off, but your limbs feel like they are made of solid lead. You spend the entire weekend rotting in bed, doing absolutely nothing, canceling plans, ignoring text messages, yet feeling completely and utterly exhausted. You beat yourself up. You lie there and you ask your ceiling, why am I so lazy? Why do I have zero willpower? What is fundamentally wrong with me? Stop. Stop doing that to yourself right now. I know exactly how heavy your body feels right now. Recently, a 23-year-old posted a confession on a massive Reddit community. They wrote, "I finish my remote job at 5 p.m. I close my laptop, move exactly 2 feet from my desk to my bed, and just stare at the blank wall for 3 hours. I don't even have the mental energy to turn on Netflix or play a video game. I just exist in silence. Am I completely broken?" The comments under that post were not filled with people giving unsolicited advice. Instead, they were flooded with tens of thousands of Gen Z and millennials simply saying, "Me too. I thought I was the only one." Listen to me very carefully. The reason you cannot get out of bed has absolutely nothing to do with your personality, your work ethic, or your willpower. You are not weak. You are not lazy. What if I told you that your inability to move is actually a highly evolved, unconscious biological defense mechanism? Welcome to Barely Psychology. Before we go any further, you need to know something about this channel. We do not do toxic positivity here. We will never tell you to just cheer up or think positive. Everything you are about to hear is grounded in clinical psychology, empirical data, historical facts, and real case studies from people just like you. We dissect human behavior using actual neuroscience, not cheap, abstract advice. So, grab your notebook, or just stay in bed. Today, we are opening up the brain of Generation Z to perform a clinical psychological autopsy on your exhaustion. Let's look at the actual neuroscience. Society, your parents, and your boss love to call you lazy. But science calls this the dorsal vagal shutdown. Most people think human beings only have 2 biological responses to stress: fight or flight. If you see a tiger in the wild, you either punch it in the nose or you run away. But there is a third, much older and much more primal response: the freeze response. You see, your nervous system is exactly like the electrical circuit breaker in your house. Previous generations experienced stress in short, intense physical bursts. They had a difficult day at the factory, or they dealt with a tangible physical problem. And then they went home, shut the front door, and the house was quiet. The stress cycle was completed. Gen Z does not have that luxury. From the exact moment you wake up to the moment you finally pass out, your brain is violently bombarded. Let's look at the empirical data. According to the American Psychological Association's recent Stress in America report, Gen Z consistently reports the absolute highest baseline levels of chronic stress and anxiety compared to any other living generation. This is a documented psychological crisis. You are dealing with an impossible housing market. You are dealing with inflation, climate anxiety, a global pandemic that hijacked your formative years, and the constant, relentless dopamine manipulation of social media algorithms specifically designed by billionaires to hijack your attention. You are experiencing what clinical psychologists call allostatic overload. Allostatic load is the severe wear and tear on your physical body and brain from chronic, unyielding stress. Imagine opening 100 demanding applications on your laptop, all at exactly the same time. The fan starts screaming, the battery drains in 10 minutes, and eventually, the screen just goes black. Your amygdala, the ancient fear center of your brain, is screaming at you 24 hours a day that you are in constant, mortal danger. So, your cortisol levels skyrocket. Cortisol is toxic to the brain in high doses over long periods. And when your cortisol is too high for too long, it literally paralyzes your prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the executive control center of your brain. It is the part responsible for long-term planning, motivation, emotional regulation, and literally the mechanical act of commanding your legs to get out of bed. When the circuit is overloaded by allostatic stress, the breaker trips. Your body shuts down to conserve energy because it fundamentally believes you are in a war zone. You are not lazy. You are in a neurological coma designed to keep you alive. But here is the real danger. This is the exact reason why you never actually recover. You think you are resting when you stay in bed. You proudly call it bed rotting. But you are not resting. You are engaging in a highly destructive behavior called pseudo-rest. Pseudo-rest is when your physical body is completely horizontal and inactive, but your cognitive load is still operating at maximum capacity because you are staring at a high-definition screen. The brilliant philosopher Byung-Chul Han explains this devastating phenomenon perfectly in his highly recommended book, The Burnout Society. Han argues that we no longer live in a disciplinary society where we are oppressed by a cruel boss. Instead, we live in an achievement society where we constantly and violently exploit ourselves. We feel guilty for resting because we believe we must constantly optimize ourselves to be productive. So, when you bed rot with your phone, you are trying to escape the immense pressure, but you are still feeding the algorithm. You are watching 15 seconds of comedy, 15 seconds of a war zone, and 15 seconds of an influencer's perfect body. You are physically paralyzed, but neurologically, you are sprinting away from a tiger at top speed. This is exactly why you can sleep for 14 solid hours on a Sunday, wake up at 2 p.m., and feel like you were hit by a massive freight train. The battery was plugged into the wall, but you left the flashlight, the GPS, and the screen brightness on maximum all night long. It never actually charged. We need to change the frame right now. Stop watching videos about finding motivation. Motivation is a complete myth for a burnt-out, traumatized nervous system. You cannot whip a tired, injured horse and expect it to win a race. We do not need motivation. We need an immediate, mechanical, neurological reset. Here is the ultimate psychological cheat code. As your mind's surgeon, I am going to give you 3 clinical, non-negotiable rules to bring your nervous system back online. Rule number 1. Do not just try to relax. That is ambiguous,
frustrating, and completely useless. Instead, you must force your body out of the dorsal vagal freeze response by manually activating your parasympathetic nervous system.
Do the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 7 seconds. Exhale forcefully through your mouth for 8 seconds. Do this exactly 4 times. This physically lowers your heart rate and sends a chemical signal to your amygdala that the tiger is gone. You are safe. Rule number 2. The 90-minute sensory deprivation protocol. If you are going to stay in bed and rot, do it with aggressive intention. Put the smartphone in another room. Turn off the background podcast. Close your eyes. You must force yourself to experience profound, uncomfortable boredom. Boredom is the exact medicine your fried brain desperately needs to clear out the allostatic load and reset your baseline dopamine levels. Let your mind wander. It will be uncomfortable, but it will heal you. Rule number 3. The 5-minute physical anchor. When you finally stand up, do one physical task that requires absolutely zero emotional energy. Make your bed. Wash one single plate. Stand outside in the direct sunlight for exactly 5 minutes. Action creates momentum. Do not wait for motivation to magically appear. Act first, mechanically, and motivation will follow the movement. When you apply these 3 clinical tools, something incredible happens. The crushing weight of guilt disappears because you finally understand the biological mechanics of your own mind. You are no longer a passive victim of perceived laziness. You are the active architect of your neurological recovery. You take your power back from the algorithm. Self-esteem and mental energy are like the water level in a massive concrete dam. When you scroll endlessly in bed, you open the floodgates and violently drain your self-worth. When you practice intentional, low dopamine rest, you close those gates. You let the reservoir fill back up, drop by drop. You are adapting to a hyper-stimulating world that human brains were never evolved to handle. It is hard, but I promise you, you are not broken. Here is your immediate action plan for today. As soon as this video ends, do not click on the next video. Stop the screen. Put your phone face down in another room. Look yourself directly in the eyes in the mirror and say out loud, "I am not lazy. My brain is just overwhelmed. And today, I give myself permission to truly rest." Protect your peace fiercely. Set your boundaries against the noise. You've got this. It's barely psychology, but it works.